Very good afternoon to all the participants. Good afternoon to all the dignitaries, importers, exporters who are participating in this India-Thailand seafood business meet. And a big namaste from all of us here in India and Sawadee Khap. Let us start this meeting. And my name is Anil Kumar. I am the Joint Director, Marketing for the Marine Products Export Development Authority, Ministry of Commerce and Government of India. We have been doing this virtual business meet for the last 1 year. This is the 28th virtual business meet we are organizing in seafood. And our entire team is supporting this event, and thank you for all of you who have joined this program. And before we start the house rules first, please, number one, there are two rules here. Number one, please mute your mic. Only the speakers may switch on their mic when they are speaking. After that, we request you to stop, mute the mic as soon as your speech is over. And the second one is there are initial three distinguished speakers. After that, industry speakers are there, 5 industry speakers, 3 from Thailand and 2 from India. And thereafter, after the industry speakers, there is a short session for question and answer. And all the participants, all the exporters, importers who are participating in this event can post their question on the chat. Please see on the bottom, there is a chat. Please type your questions. We will have about 20 minutes for the Q&A, question and answer session. We will put the questions to the speakers at the end of the session. So after the Q&A session, there is a concluding speech. So with that, we will end the program. Now, let us start the program, the India-Thai Business Meet on Marine and Aquaculture Products. May I invite the Chairman, Marine Products Export Development Authority, K.S. Srinivas, IAS. Sir, please give your welcome speech. All of you, please mute your mic. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Namaste, everyone. My name is Srinivas. I am chairman of MPEDA India. My job is to give welcome remarks. So we have in our this meeting, Madam Suchitra Durai, Ambassador of India to Thailand. I welcome on behalf of MPEDA, on behalf of entire marine fraternity from India. I welcome Madam Suchitra Durai, Ambassador of India in Thailand. Then we also have Dr. Tawon Tunjai, Deputy Director General, Department of Fisheries, Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives, Thailand. I welcome on my behalf and on behalf of MPEDA, Government of India, Dr. Tawon Tunjai. Welcome. Then we also have some participants. We also have the speakers both from India, Mr. Shaji Matthew and Dr. Manoj Sharma. These two gentlemen will be delivering, they will be addressing the gathering. They will be speaking on the presentation on value addition and processing of sea cod products. I welcome them. And from the Thailand side also, we have 3 speakers. Dr. Penishwan Jamar Nuwas, President, Thai Frozen Foods Association. Mr. Tust Tangsom Bhat, Vice Chairman, Food Processing Industries Club, Federation of Thai Industries. And also we have Mr. Manit Jitchum, President, Thai Agriculture Business Association. Please pardon me if my pronunciation is not correct. Please pardon me. And we have so many people. I am very happy to know that more than 100 participants are participating in this meeting today. And before I close, just want to speak about two or three issues. Number one is the India in 2021 exported almost 68,000 metric tons of seafood worth $184 million in 2021. Just concluded financial year 2021. And frozen fish, it has taken the maximum contribution in this, almost 50% contribution of our exports to Thailand is contributed by frozen fish. And unfortunately, our flagship product, it is called frozen shrimp. Frozen shrimp is not welcomed by the Thai authorities because of a disease they have found out in I think a couple of years back about that IMNV disease. It is called infectious myonecrosis virus. And I would like to assure all the Thai authorities and all the Thai importers from this platform is that India has taken up a very targeted and active surveillance scheme for monitoring, for serving this IMNV disease. And we have requested the Thai authorities to send a team so that they can come here and then they can also have a discussions. They can also inspect our facilities. So since COVID is there, it may not be possible for a physical inspection, but at least the Thai authorities can consider to have a virtual inspection of our facilities in the near future. So this is one request I wanted to make to the Thailand Department of Fisheries. And one more issue is that I would like to thank the Thailand Department of Fisheries for reducing the advance reporting time for fishing vessels from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. As you know, we have the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which is having very good resources of tuna and grouper fishes, and then very close to Thailand also. So we have requested the Thai department for reducing the advance reporting. I'm very happy to note that the Thai Department of Fisheries has reduced the advance reporting time from 72 hours to 36 hours now. So I'm sure very soon the exports from Andaman and Nicobar Islands will start in a big way. And I'm sure that that is going to be the future. And one more issue I want to talk about is the value addition part, because this meet is basically on the value addition part. You know, we are almost more than 90% of our exports, we are exporting in the form of raw material only. But Thailand is known as the kitchen of the world. That means they do a lot of cooking, they do a lot of processing within the Thailand. Sometimes they are getting raw materials from outside the country, and then they are trying to do the processing. So in this connection, my request to Thai authorities is to come here. Maybe your companies can come, Thailand companies can come and set up the value-added products processing units in India, because we have raw materials available here in plenty. So this is also another request I wanted to make you. And with this, if you can do it, the Thailand, the exports to Thailand right now is very less, around 68,000 metric tons only. There is a huge potential for enhancing the exports of seafood material from India to Thailand. And I hope whatever this meet today, this business meet today, in which more than 100 people from both the countries are participating, I'm sure it will definitely pave the way for future business between the two countries. And I welcome everybody again, once again, and all the participants. And I hope this meet will be successful, and then it will definitely pave the way for the future development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome speech. Now, may I invite Her Excellency Srimati Suchitra Dorai, Ambassador of India to Thailand, to give her address. Madam, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anil Kumar. Good afternoon to all participants. Namaskar, Sawadi Kha. Deputy Director General Khon Tawon Tunchai, from the Ministry of, from the Department of Fisheries, the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives of Thailand, Srinivas, the chairman of MPEDA, Dr. Paniswan Jamnan Wage, the president of the Thai Frozen Foods Association, Mr. Tust Tang Sombat, the vice chairman of the Food Processing Industries Club of the Federation of Thai Industries, Mr. Yanapol Limpana Chokchai, the chairman of the Agricultural Machinery Manufacturers Industry Club, Mr. Manit Jichum, the president of the Thai Aquaculture Business Association, Mr. Shaji Matthew, CEO of Jude Foods India Limited, Dr. Manoj Sharma, director of Mayank Aquaculture Private Limited, distinguished guests and participants, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be present in this very important meeting and join you in this Thailand India-Thailand business meet on marine and aquaculture products, which has been jointly organized by MPEDA and the Embassy of India in Bangkok. I extend my warm welcome to all of you, and I'm very happy that a large number of representatives of this very important sector, both from India and Thailand, are present in this meeting. I think most of all, a lot of what I wanted to say has already been, mentioned by the chairman, MPEDA. MPEDA, as you would all know, is the nodal agency responsible for the development of the seafood industry in India. It's been actively involved in the promoting export of marine products for a very long time. And, it's good that the program includes presentations both from the industry representatives as well as from the two apex chambers. I think the focus will be on value addition and processing of, processing of items, I think, which are caught from the sea, as well as agricultural products. India and Thailand, of course, have a very long history of economic and commercial cooperation, which has been really the focus of our relationship. And this is, in line with our own government of India's policy, which is Act East policy, started off as Look East in 1992 and has developed strongly into Act East. And now, of course, we have a vision for the Indo-Pacific as well. Similarly, Thailand has its own Act West policy. So the both policies are in harmony with each other. India and Thailand are maritime neighbors. So we do have a long history of interaction and trade between our two countries, particularly trade in marine products. So bilateral trade, even during the COVID-19 pandemic year of 2020 was around $10 billion. Earlier, of course, it was more than $12 billion. So we've seen that there has been a decline due to the COVID-19 period. But happily for us, we see a rebound in the trade between both the countries. If, for example, the first 5 months of 2021 have seen a good increase of trade, which is now worth about $6 billion. Both India and Thailand, of course, are major producers of fish and marine products because both of us are maritime nations. And it is important for both countries to further collaborate and cooperate with each other in this area. The Southeast Asia market is in fact the 4th largest market of Indian marine products, and they account for 11% of our total exports. And as has already been mentioned, among the items which are major items of export from India to Thailand are frozen cuttle fish, squid, Indian mackerels, shrimps, prawns, etc. As far as shrimps are concerned, of course, there is a temporary suspension. And we hope that that will be lifted by Thailand after we go through whatever is required by the Thai side. Many of these marine products are in fact included under the ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement, the ITIGA. India is also the fourth largest exporter of seafood in the world. And in fact, it's grown from about $4.68 billion worth to about more than $6 billion in 2021. And we export such products to more than 100 countries. And the major importers of Indian seafood are US and China. And I think we have already spoken about what are the top products of interest as far as we are concerned. Uh, we find that, in the last 2 years, in 2019 and 2020, export of Indian marine products actually have declined to Thailand. This is also because, export of shrimps and prawns, there has been a temporary suspension on imports of some categories of shrimps from India. And this has also affected our overall bilateral trade figures. As has already been mentioned by Chairman MPEDA, we have already responded to the very detailed questionnaire which was sent to us by the Department of Fisheries. And we have strongly requested Thailand to expedite the virtual inspection of India's shrimp export facilities. Thailand has a consulate in Chennai, and also consulates in other parts of India, including in Mumbai and Kolkata. And it might be useful if the consulates could also play an important role in facilitating this virtual inspection. In addition to that, perhaps their officials could also consider visiting facilities which are very close and which can be done by their officials. Of course, there has been a positive development, which is, Thailand authorities have reduced the advanced data reporting time as regards Indian fishing vessels which operate from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And that is a very positive development. And we hope that that will lead to, greater trade as far as the Andaman and Nicobar region of India is concerned, as well as the Thailand's own west coast. In fact, there has been another positive development in 2019 when, 4 ports of India's east coast, that is Visakhapatnam, Chennai, Kolkata and Krishnapatnam, have signed MOUs with the Ranong deep sea port of Thailand. And we hope that this will translate into the operation of direct shipping lines soon between our two countries, thus reducing, the shipping time as well as the freight costs, which will also help in further enhancement of bilateral trade in this particular sector. So I'm very happy that this meeting is being organized, and I'm sure that in the interaction that you will have between the business representatives as well as the apex chambers of both the countries, you will find many issues of interest and many areas where there would be convergence. And wherever there are differences, I'm sure both sides will be, using this platform in order to correct, any perceptions, any issues which might be, there between the two sides. So I wish you all the very best in your interactions, and thank you very much. Khapun Kha.
Thank you, Madam, for your wonderful address. Thank you very much. May I now invite the Deputy Director General, Department of Fisheries, Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives of Thailand, Dr. Thawon Thunjai, to give his address. Kun Thawon Thunjai, please.
Thank you. Excellency Mrs. Jusita Durai, Ambassador of India to Thailand, Mr. K.S.C. Niwat, Chairman of Marine Products Export Development Authority, distinguished participants, good afternoon all, namaste. It is my great pleasure to deliver my address on behalf of Mr. Misak Pakdikong, Director General of Department of Fishery on this occasion. Thailand Department of Fishery and Related Fishery Authority of India have a close relationship not only the technical cooperation at bilateral level, but also in multilateral and regional contexts, such as Bay of Bengal initiatives for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation or BIMSTEC, and Indian Ocean Tuna Commission or IOTC. We have cooperated for our mutual benefit by exchanging knowledge, experience, and echoing our voice in regional fora as we share similar characteristics of the fishery and aquaculture sectors. In terms of economic relationship, the average trade value of fishery products from 2016 to 2020 between Thailand and India was about 270 million US dollars. The Department of Fishery, as the competent authority, has implemented an aquaculture certification scheme to ensure that farm-raised fish and shrimp have high quality for consumption. Thailand processing plants are required to be in compliance with the GMP, HACCP, and other international standards. In the fishery sector, combating IUU fishing is our nation's priority. Therefore, traceability is used to ensure that our fish and fishery products are safe and free from IUU fishing. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that between India and Thailand, there still have opportunities to working together under technical research and trade. Thailand Department of Fishery would like to ensure full cooperation with Embassy of India to Thailand, MPEDA, and relevant organizations of India to support trade facilitation between two countries. Finally, I also wish that today's webinar a successful platform for India and Thailand in the creation of business opportunity in fisheries and aquaculture industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tawon Tunjai. Kokun Makhab. Now we will be starting the next session, which is a technical session. The speakers from Indian side and Thai side of the business will give their presentations on value addition and the processing of sea cod and aquaculture products. And we have about 20 minutes for 5 speakers. I request the speakers to limit their presentation to 4 minutes. And the first speaker is Mr. Shaji Matthew, CEO of Jude Foods India Private Limited from Tamil Nadu, India. So may I request Mr. Shaji Matthew to start his presentation. I would also request all the participants, we have more than 240 registered participants, of which about 50 plus are from Thailand. So I would request the participants from India and Thailand to give your questions in the chat so that the speakers can, respond to it. Mr. Shaji, please.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, very well. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Excellency the Ambassador, Chairman MPEDA, Dr. Tawon Tunjai, my colleagues from the industry in India as well as in Thailand, ladies and gentlemen. Seafood industry is absolutely important to us. For India, it's socially and economically. It employs roughly 14.5 million people directly and many more indirectly, leave alone the domestic fishery and the distribution setup. We have over 70,000 fishing crafts fishing on our east and the west coast, over 500 modern processing factories, of which more than 65% are EU-approved units. These factories employ state-of-the-art machineries, employ processing techniques, and also equipped with some of them excellent laboratories. My presentation is going to be limited to a very small part of the Indian fishery that's targeted at the tuna and tuna-like species. As you may be well aware, almost 7.4 million metric tons of tuna is landed in the world seas every year, of which about 36% goes to the EU markets, which is a very big market. May not be for sushi restaurants, but in all forms of products. You'll see it in most of the supermarkets in Europe. And also the acceptance of sushi restaurants are coming up. About 26% plus goes to the high quality Japanese market, whether it's in the fresh form or the super frozen form. It's a pride for every company to export to the Japanese markets, where the Bengal tuna has got a name of itself. But these tuna may not be from the Bay of Bengal or from the Indian factories, but most of them go from Thailand or from Seychelles or Maldives or from Sri Lanka. But it's our endeavor that we achieve that kind of quality where we can address at least a part of that market in Japan. Our estimated tuna resources are roughly about 0.2 million metric tons. But we don't fish more than 0.05 million tons. And even this tuna which we carry, this includes of all tuna, including native species, of which most of this tuna we export to countries like Vietnam or Thailand or Tunisia or to Algeria or even to Turkey for a reprocessing purpose. We are a supplier, like the Honorable Chairman said, we are a supplier of raw material. We are still not come into the value-added products area where we can be reckoned as a supplier of quality products to the world in the wild-caught fishery segment at least. This is roughly the major landing centers in India. I have only mentioned those centers limited to tuna and tuna-like species landing. Right from Visakhapatnam on the east coast and Varavel in the west coast, we have got a large number of modern fishing harbors equipped to land tuna products. Most of these harbors have got good facilities, including chilled handling facilities. A lot of modernization projects are on the anvil and being developed with active interest from the Ministry of Fisheries and agencies like MPEDA and the NFTV. A lot of agencies are working towards improving this segment. We have not mentioned the large resources available around the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Most of our fishermen have not even explored or started exploring in those areas. And that's an excellent resource waiting to be tapped. Of the roughly 32,000 tons of skipjack we land in our harbors, except for the little consumption in the domestic market and few canneries in India, the rest are all exported. A lot to Vietnam, a lot to Thailand and to other countries. It is a sad moment that we don't have yet to have an Indian brand in the canned tuna market, which I'm sure sooner or later we should have. These are our seas where the fishing is happening. Now, how do we achieve the value addition? In my opinion, it can be achieved only by upgrading the fishing practices, by landing quality raw material. We have been trying to see if our fishermen can land the tuna, mainly the yellowfin species, in about 6 days' time. 2 days probably for the fishing ground, and 2 days probably for backward, and 2 days of fishing. But it's a Herculean task to convince our fishermen to be focused on the quality side. Most of them don't know or don't follow the best practices of handling on board. We don't shock our tuna before drawing on board. Most of us do not gill it or gut it or grade it. Why? We don't even ice it immediately. And this is probably the reason why we are not up in the value chain, where we are not able to have a brand or a reckoned space in the world markets for quality products. And as a result, we end up as the raw material suppliers. A lot of work can be done in the fishing area. A lot of effort can be put in there, where we can probably catch at least some of the 0.05 million metric ton into our shores, improving the lifestyle and living standards of fishermen and the communities associated with it. Of course, I'm not forgetting the recent quota discussions going on with the IOTC course, I'm sure it's for the governments to sort those out. We are right at the corner of India, right down a place called Nagarkoil, very close to Sri Lanka, just to mention. These are some of the tuna products, and most of you are familiar with. The best known products are the tuna lines. We've got many grading there. We've got AAA, we've got AA, we've got B, B+. And the US, if you go, they'll grade it 2, 2 minus. There are different ways of grading, but essentially, it is the top quality tuna with an excellent meat, stability, and that's the A-grade tuna. There are many products like lines, you have the steaks, you have the surimi, you've got saku. It's a very versatile fish. Every part of it can be used, including the skin. The second level of value-added products in tuna would be the smoked tuna. We don't do very much of that in India. Smoking can be done with the CO or it can be with the TS. Some of the European countries do with a mixture of citric acid and some other components. I'm aware that it's got an excellent market in the US. Thailand and Vietnam are the leaders in it. Some of the products comes out of it are excellent looking. Smoking may not be improving the quality. No, it doesn't improve the quality, but it improves the quality perception. It gives an excellent presentation, and the US loves this product. I just shown a few pictures for the benefit of those who have not seen it. Again, some other value-added products, the top grade sushi products or the sakus. Well, the challenges we face in India are basically the marketing challenges. The quality and consistency of our product is not at the top, as a result of which most of the customers do not recognize or Indian suppliers, Indian processors as a trustworthy source. They'll be happy buying from their Thai or Vietnamese partners who actually uses Indian raw material. RFMO interactions are, of course, on the increase, which is more in India because we enjoy over 8,000 kilometers of shoreline or 2 million square kilometers of EEZ. We are an easy target of any of the RFMO. Eco-labeling like MSC, well, there is an effort in the Lakshadweep Islands about on the polar line fishery on MSC labeling. Apart from that, our yellowfin or swordfish or mahi is at large and far away from many of the eco-labeling. And supermarkets look at this. Most of the customers wants to have an eco-labeling on the products. Sustainability strategy is another issue coming up, and the TBT is again another issue. Like EU charges about 18.5% to 14% duty, but Sri Lanka have got just duty free. So competing in the market space gets difficult to us. Coming back to the finfish availability, it's also India is an excellent source for the finfish. A lot of effort is also going on for sea cage farming and inland fishery. A lot of effort is being done. A lot of new entrepreneurs are coming into this segment. Business is being made. Employment has been on the increase. We have got very few vessels in the deep seas. Our vessels are roughly about 20 meters AOL, equipped with the traditional fishing gear. Not really equipped or can't really compete with modern fishing vessels. High sea fishing is in a very nascent stage. We probably do not have any vessel which can be called for. And there is also law under the making, I believe, where sooner or later, Indian corporations or joint ventures, I'm not too sure, may be available to explore the high sea fishing market. A lot of projects are in the anvil for modernize our harbors. These are some of the products which I would like to bring it to your notice. Skipjack tuna, very well aware of, very well known to my colleagues in the Thai processing industry. Indian mackerel is a product which goes a lot to Thailand. Again, lollygoose, squid goes, cuttlefish not much, but up to a certain quantity. And here I come to the end of my short presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaji Matthew, the CEO of Jude Foods India Private Limited, for the excellent presentation. Yes, Thailand is the leader in tuna processing. and we are all very well aware of that. Your presentation is excellent. Now, I would request the next speaker is the President of Thai Frozen Foods Association, Dr. Paniswan Jamnanwich. He's the next speaker. May I request Kun Jamnanwich to give your next presentation, please? Kun Jamnanwich, can you hear us? By the time he joins, I would like to inform all the participants that MPEDA is organizing a series of business meets, and there are two types of business meets. One is a meet like this where everybody sit together and discuss. The second meet is one-to-one matchmaking business meet, where one importer, one buyer will meet exporters individually over virtual platform. MPEDA is facilitating that. And if any of the importers are interested for a one-to-one meeting, please let MPEDA or Embassy of India in Bangkok know. We will organize that. And I would like to announce that the next virtual buyer-seller meet, one-to-one meet, is planned on 4th August next month. Kun Paniswan Jamnanwich, could you please start your presentation?
Anilji, they are requesting to unmute. See the message. Anilji?
Yeah, he himself can do that. We have given him the power.
No, because I could see the message in the chat box. They are asking because the host has muted them.
Right. We will help him. We will help him.
Okay. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you very well. Please go ahead.
Okay. I was having a very, very tough time. I don't know, because of my connection or my computer or something. Our staff had prepared some presentation, but not a very long one. But I can summarize some things up for you, and then if we have time, I can come up with the presentation a bit later. Okay, Thai Frozen Food Association, our former name is Marine Product Trader Association. So we concentrate mainly on seafood, and recently the biggest item that we process and export is frozen shrimp, of course. And at the moment, we know India is the biggest exporter of shrimp. We used to be #1, but now we are #5 behind India, Indonesia, and all those. So I understand we are in the middle of that misunderstanding somehow, or some too eagerly concerned about the virus. Okay, we do have similar virus within our country, and we are trying our best to control. And we are trying to convince our authority that India has a good system of controlling the epidemic, or it would not let the virus become an epidemic level. But because of the coronavirus going around, this COVID-19, they cannot go in person, but I think they are working, or we are all working to do the audit online or remote audit, just so we can reopen or continue to import shrimp from India. As a world player, the biggest processor in the world, and what we used to be #1, we were capable of processing up to 500,000 tons of shrimp per year. Now, the domestic production is a little bit below 300,000 tons per year. So we effectively have some extra capacity that we cannot fill with the domestic production alone. So we are trying our best to balance between importing from certain countries. Indonesia, I think they have a certain strain of virus that we do not recognize, or is the one that we don't have here. But for India, I think we can continue after some clerical or some control or sharing information about the virus. So I'm very hopeful that we can be a big buyer in the future, because to be competitive in the world, we must be able to source at world price, not domestic price. Okay. In the meantime, we also process other seafood items, and the one that we have zero import duties from India, the biggest item you might have known is the Indian mackerel, 0%. This is one of the mainstay in our seafood consumption. The next one that has 0% on duties is a squid. But oddly enough, the cuttlefish is taxed at 30%. I'm not sure how this work out, or whether we have domestic cash or something like that. But when we combine squid and cuttlefish by weight, they make up about 1/3 of what we process. Okay, so we are hopeful that we can continue importing these items, because the domestic cash is dwindling. The next item that we do import from India quite a bit, it would be the crab. The blue swimming crab is taxed at 5%. And then the mollusk, the spotted Babylon, also taxed at 5%. These are the 5 big items that we import from India. It is my hope that we can be a steady buyer with the free trade agreement with India. We do a lot of fruits. Okay, India is also very, very big exporter and importer of fruits. We have exported to sell a lot of fruits to India, and also buy a lot of fruits from India too. As the association aim, this is I took office about 3 months ago, but it's my 3rd term as president of the association. This time we have an aim to be world player, back to where we used to be. And one of the strategy that we have put in place is to be able to buy in the world market, to complement what we can produce locally. With extra regulation and all those things, we cannot expand the growing area in the pond or the pond area. So we have to source from outside. We buy from as far as Ecuador, and India is much closer, and we have much better trade agreement with India that cover many different things. And we would like to promote the trading of frozen shrimp, especially because we have the excess processing capacity, and India has the production capacity in the term of the pond, and also the quality of the shrimp, and the distance is very close. With the logistic being what it is, trying to ship from far away is very risky and getting more and more expensive by the month, actually, not by the year. So it is my hope that we can reopen this channel with the agreement and the proper handling of all this disease control and the whatever contamination, that we both hold to the same high standard. India cannot be a world player with inferior product, and we cannot be a world player with inferior processing. So together, it would be beneficial for both countries. And food is one item that should be available to every level. So I do hope that we can get this back on track, and become a steady trader. And for my own case or my association, our aim is the frozen shrimp, let's say that, because even though it comprises only 1/3 by weight, it accounts for about 2/3 by value. When we look at it, it's one of the top selling item at a very good price. And when we reach the balance between import and export and domestic, then we'll be in very good shape, okay, to be prominent again. And I really thank the Indian Embassy to organize this. And then I would go back and try to get all my files to show you what they prepared. Let me struggle with my computer just a little bit. And in the meantime, I can still listen on. And also our colleague from Thailand, the Processing Food Association, he used more variety, not just tuna, many different variety of seafood that he can import from India also. And thank you very much for organizing this webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Paniswan, for giving a very brief and very effective presentation. Your points are well taken. We understand that you have in Thailand the excess processing capacity for shrimp. We are there to support. And may I now invite our next speaker, Dr. Manoj Sharma. He's the director of Mayank Aquaculture Private Limited from Surat in Gujarat, India. Dr. Manoj.
Thank you, Anil sir, and greetings to all the dignitaries of the business meet from Thailand and India, and also the officers of both the nations. I'm, as Dr. Anil Kumarji introduced me as a farmer, that I'm doing farming from last 28 years. And this business meet is very, very important as a farmer's perspective, because Thailand today, whatever business, what we are doing, mostly it's coming from the technology is coming from Thailand. And the two most dominant companies right now is doing 80-85% business is Thai Union and CP. Thai Union has a collaboration with Avanti. So in that perspective, I will say, because the time is very less, so I like to run through some data. As we know that India is already producing 14.15 million metric tons of marine things, and 10.43 MMT is from the inland, and share of marine is 3.72. So you can see the total value, but the very important aspect here is shrimp farming, because the total shrimp production in India is close to 8 million metric ton, but this year due to pandemic, maybe some 18 to 20% you could see less. And the other performances, you could see that, you know, we are doing very good with tilapia, ornamental fish. And as Saji Matthew said, that we are also doing very good in tuna recently. So this is the market-wise export by value India that we could see still that the denominations. Then you could see the market-wide export in quantity. You could see that US, China. And then you could see atom-wise value product in India, frozen shrimp, you could see 74 is constituted by the only shrimp. Then you could see atom-wise export of quantity in India. Frozen shrimp is like quantity-wise also is 51%. And then you could see the capacity of the exporters that we have 1464 exporters, EU approved are 361. So in our frozen capacity, you could see that we have a very huge capacity for frozen. Then share of capture and culture fisheries, you could see that how capture fisheries versus culture fisheries are also picking up in India. And you could clearly see the contribution of aquaculture in compared to capture fisheries from last 2 years. Culture is growing more than the capture. And this is what the slide which I would like to impress upon is like Indian scenario is that we have an increasing aquaculture trend compared to capture. Availability of large quantity of shrimps is available with very good quality. High turnover of exporting shrimp. We are 99%, you can say we are dependent upon the exports. And we have very, very huge 1.2 million hectares of brackish water shrimp farming. And also the inland salt affected, we have another 9 million hectares. And the potential for inland, this is very, very huge. We can even, if the market drive supports, we can even capable of producing more than 1 million tons of shrimp. And then you could see the potential, as I said, 9.7 million hectares. And shrimp farming scenario, you could see 70% is dominated by Andhra Pradesh, followed by 10% West Bengal, 7% Odisha, Gujarat 6%, and others 3%. And then shrimp export, if you see, when we talk about aquaculture, shrimp is dominating, and we could see our USA is a 46% market, followed by China. These two together are the biggest dominating markets for India. And shrimp processing scenario, as I said, we have more than 2 processing plants, 350 of them are approved, and we have a basic holding capacity of 3.8 lakh tons. So it's a huge processing facility, state of the art we have in India. And this is what we talk about value addition. So what value addition is actually drives? It's like certification, traceability, quality of the product, and sustainability. And then what is commonly how we can say define as value addition? In any activity along the value chain which can increase the usability, adds price, economic value, and attribute to the culinary taste. So that is where it is very important that most of the Indian shrimp, which is going raw at 90-95%, has a big scope of value addition. And you could see why value addition, safety, assurance, because we are all dependent upon the export market, increased shelf life, high level of quantity, tapping new markets, and solution and supply issues. And you could see now that India has only 6% value addition capacity right now, what we are doing, but see the enormous capacity of Thailand, 64%, followed by China, 40%, and Vietnam, 26%. So consumers towards, if you see the perspective of consumers, they want healthy, convenient, affordable, sustainable, look-wise appealing, quality, availability, and also traceability and origin of the product. So list of some value added, which is already happening in India and world over, right from breaded to curry shrimp. So this is very important for us that most of the Indian product which is going right now is in the raw. And then if we collaborate with Thailand to make it to directly a ready to product for the consumer, not even to business. So ready to eat is very important rather than ready to cook. So you could see the offerings that India, as Anil Kumarji said, we are mainly 90%, 95%, we can say it's go down headless. Headless is 20, PDPDTO is 70%, and head on that too, 5% of about the European and premium quality. These are the fish products. We can right from fish pickles, fish frozen curries, breaded, everything can be done. These are some pictures of a good fish value addition. And then because shrimp farming, and then what shrimp farming is required in India, because 1.35 billion population we have, it's a huge population, and this is what the shrimp farming is highly lucrative when we tap to domestic market. Because when we talk about value addition, everything which can increase the value of the business, for me is a value addition. For me as a farmer, the biggest challenge in last 18 months is how to get the price for my produce. So this is where India itself can be a big domestic market, can be a big value, and Thai people can support in this venture, because already Thai's entire technology which we have learned is mostly from Thailand. So we know now Thailand people knows that how India is good in the quality of farming, because most of the Thai technicians and companies are established in India. So you could rethink about opening up the imports of Indian shrimps to Thailand, and also transfer the value addition and ready to eat kind of product in Indian market. I did my little bit as a farmer. I started a concept of domestic market from my pond to your plate concept, and I started a restaurant. It's a very modest restaurant with a small facility, not more than 1800 square foot. But in 2019, I started in Tanjung, and unfortunately, it has been business has been hampered because of the COVID. But the response was overwhelming in India, because a lot of Indian people, they love Oriental cuisine, especially from Thai curries and Thai spices, they love it. So I also have a 30% combination that, and 70% from Indian traditional cuisines. You could see the spread of the Jingalala menu, you could see. And also we started amid COVID farm fresh frozen products and started selling them to our customers of 5,000. We have a list of customers in Jingalala. So that also response is fantastic. So scope of the seafood waste utilization, because a lot of people will think the waste which is generated in the seafood, especially in the shrimp, how it can be value added. So it is very, very important if you see the list of this product and the waste generated out of that. So that can be very well utilized in agriculture as a manure, organic manure. Pharma, you have many products which are converted as a raw material to pharma. Nutraceuticals, chitin, chitosan can be converted and used, and not less pet and animal nutrition, because a lot of protein can be extracted, meal can be converted and can be utilized in pet industry. So even utilizing the waste can itself will be a big value addition in the industry, because in shrimp, India is producing more than 8 lakh tons of shrimp. So when it comes to the business meat, India opportunity is huge, because the government under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana and Aquaculture Infrastructure Development Fund and very proactive work of now MPEDA, the government is now permitted under the 100% FDI is permitted route in aquaculture. Even automatic route, the non-resident of investor of Indian company does not require any approval from Indian government to invest in the country. This is a huge opportunity for Thai companies to come and directly collaborate with the Indian counterpart. So the factors supporting, as I said, availability of raw material is very huge in India. Strong production base of shrimp farming is there. Large number of processing facilities, and we have an overcapacity of processing and state-of-the-art processing. We have prospects for introducing new species and collaborating with Thai aquaculture, that even the farming can be value added, strengthened through the bilateral collaboration. And we have also state-of-the-art seaport and air connectivity. So possible technology transfer can be possible to increase and add value to our products. And there is a huge domestic consumption market potential is there that can be tapped together by collaboration with Indian companies. And especially when because shrimp, I always believe that India is only dominating in single species. So there is also a scope of diversification by collaborating with Thai companies, especially in fish and the inland marine and brackish all together. So a couple of decades back, aquaculture is, we have seen an overwhelming growth. And this is where the species like Nile tilapia, Isa, grey mullet, pompano, cobia, and other species, the technique and technology can be transferred through Thailand. So concluding slide, I will say India and Thailand collaborative approach utilizing many unexplored water resources. Technology transfer can be the main thing for that, and processing units to be fruitful can create better market prospects for employment opportunity for both the countries. It is, again, I will urge that, again, I will appeal that Thailand has given a wonderful platform for us to learn shrimp farming and produce and become one of the top in the world. Now, this is that, again, I request and appeal to Thai people. Now, we need a value addition platform so we can also become an international and competent in ready-to-eat products, even domestic and worldwide. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Anilji, for giving me this chance.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj, for the wonderful presentation, as always. And we are all waiting to, for you to open your restaurant so that we can taste the tom yum shrimp in your restaurant. Thank you.
Because this is what, there is a big attraction between India and Thailand when it comes to seafood. Yes. And our Indian people, they love Thai cuisines. So there is, I think that kind of ready to eat product and outlets is going to be a big investment and future business opportunity for India and Thailand.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we go to the next presentation, may I remind all the colleagues from Thailand about our one-to-one buyer-seller meet, which is proposed in August. The first one is proposed on 4th August. If any of you are interested, please contact our embassy in Bangkok. We will organize, schedule the buyer-seller meet or the matchmaking event, one-to-one matchmaking event from August 4th onwards. And please inform the product you are interested with specifications. This will help MPEDA to identify the exporters who are able to supply these products to come and meet you and present you virtually, of course. Now, let me invite the next speaker. Our next speaker is the Vice Chairman, Food Processing Industries Club, Federation of Thai Industries. He is Kun Thast Thongsambat. So may I request Kun Thongsambat to give the presentation? Can you hear me, Kun Thongsambat? Yeah, you need to unmute. You need to unmute. Dr. Jibin, please help him to unmute. Yeah, now you can speak, please.
Your Excellency, guest, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to be invited today for a webinar on the topics of value addition and processing of sea cod and aquaculture products. But another position that I'm doing is the Thai Food Processor Association. I'm the president of the association, and the association had prepared some information in the brief presentation, which I would like to ask our officer to provide you the short presentation, and I will be very happy to answer any question addressed from the floor. Thank you very much. I understand you have to unmute her presentation too. We cannot unmute it by ourselves.
We could see your presentation, Kun Thast.
Yeah, but in fact, it has the audio with the presentation, but I understand that the microphone is also not able to unmute.
Please, Dr. Jibin, please help him to unmute the presentation so that the...
Please start the presentation. We can unmute from here.
Okay, please go ahead.
Ms. Chanikan, please continue.
Unmute it. Unmute it. Unmute it. Unmute it. You can unmute from your side. Mr. Toast. Yes.
Since it's a very complicated issue, so I'll let Chanikan to start the screen sharing and.
Yeah, we can see your presentation. You can go on, please.
Yeah, you can see it, but I have the audio recorded on the presentation. But I think the audio cannot be playable because the microphone is mute. But briefly, I would like to convince the message that Kun Paniswan had already delivered to the floor that Thailand is a very keen importer of all seafood from all corners of the world. Because our local production cannot meet up with our factory capacity and the world demand. Because we are sending our products to nearly every developed country in the world. Especially for US and the EU. But according to the statistic, I don't think that we have been importing much tuna from India yet. But so I seek more opportunity to import more, but I don't understand why the figure is not that impressive. Also, we send some canned mackerel to India too, but the quantity is not sufficient. So we're looking for a bilateral trade together for the both countries. Also, because as you know, when we're talking about Thai food cannot call Thai food if it's not used fish sauce. And the dilemma for the fish sauce industry in Thailand is we are lacking of the supply of the anchovy, which is the raw material base to produce fish sauce. We would be happy to look into the opportunity and to explore more for India, that whether you can supply us with the salted anchovy so we can use it as the raw material for fish sauce industry. And as Kun Panisun and other people are saying that if the documentation is right, if the process and quality is right, why not? We can buy more and more from India. And even in the future, if the COVID crisis is stopped, we may be able to invest more in India. For example, maybe to set up some factory or have a joint venture together. Okay, that is what I'm feeling, that both of our country will heading into a very good prospect and very prosper future. So I'm today to convince that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tangsombat. Would you like to share your presentation? There is no issue from our side. You can once again try to share your presentation. Let us see. Please unmute your mic. Yeah, we can see. We can see your presentation.
You can see, but you cannot hear the audio recorded on the presentation.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Understand. So what we will do is we can share it with our participants. We will share all the presentation with our participants. That's not an issue.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kun Tangsombat, for your very informative and useful presentation. And as you said rightly, that in future there is opportunities for Thailand to invest in India. Yeah. Now, may I request the next speaker? The next speaker was supposed to be Kun Manit Jitchum, President of Thai Aquaculture Business Association. However, due to some emergency situation, he is not able to come for this presentation. Instead of him, they have kindly, consented to depute Vice President, Thai Aquaculture Business Association, Kun Sorapot Panakon. May I invite Kun Sorapot Panakon to give the next presentation. Thank you. Can you, Kun Sorapot, can you speak, please? Please unmute your mic. We can see your slide presentation. Yeah, now you can speak.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. สวัสดีครับ Namaste, Your Excellency, delegate speaker, distinguished guests. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for inviting us to be here today to share about our association. My name is Sarapat Panakorn. As a Vice President of Thai Aquaculture Business Association, I have been assigned by the President of TABA Association to be a present on behalf of TABA today. We established in 2002 or around 20 years ago. TABA is an association of almost a company who doing the business in aquaculture, especially for shrimp. Almost a half of the supply chain from the hatchery to feed mill, healthcare products, equipment, tool, and media is a member of TABA. We aim to play a vital role in enhancing productivity and sustainability of aquaculture production in Thailand. There's around 60 to 70% of all the company in aquaculture industry in Thailand as our membership today. And Mr. Paul iPad 12.9, please unmute your mute your microphone. Okay, thank you. Association activity, we do the activity continuously during the past 20 years, but this is just something to show the activity in 2021. We have something like we call credit data center or CDC that we gathering the customer credit data and sharing this among the member to ensure the member financial issue. We conduct the online program via Zoom, via Facebook to do the brainstorming or expert sharing or educating for a better solution for aqua farmer. We do twice a month, and until now we do almost 10 times for 2021. We have something that we call TABA band. Actually, TABA band is something that we certify ourselves on a quality, a quantity, and a safe for user and free from prohibited residue for our member products. To help each other to guarantee that when the farmer or our customer using the product, it has been guaranteed. And then the another thing that we always doing about 3 times a year is about training, that we provide some training for our customer and our member staff. This year, last 2 months, we conduct a technical training called technical sales consultant workshop. Or we have some news or leaflet or news release about the hot issue at the moment, or some interesting thing sharing among the Thailand shrimp industry. And when we look into the products in our role of aquaculture as a healthcare product support to aquaculture industry, we have some product like disinfectant, mineral and lime, pre or probiotic, feed supplementation like vitamin or premix or mineral, for example, and some kind of the water treatment tool or equipment also in this loop of our product. And this is some percent contribution during 2015 and recent this year 2021. For TABA, we provide a qualified raw material and healthcare products to adding to a value of for Thailand aquaculture products with a passion of, first, we emphasize on it must be free from antibiotics. And the second one is we have to support the sustainable aquaculture. So we're looking for something about save the water use discharge or save the water uses, save the environment, reduce the residue that left over in the natural or surrounding environment, and all the product that we use must be under the traceability. That means you can track where it comes from, what is the material or ingredient inside, and insight, for example, we do it with transparency and we target for highly efficiency. We have some outstanding product performance by using the knowledge power. Why we can say this? Because we have a little bit long experience in aquaculture industry combined together with a special solution to specific purpose or specific problem with a cooperation with the scientists, university professor, researcher, expertise, Department of Fishery, and so on for like something like biotech. Then we can formulate or we can build up a product that having an outstanding performance and some kind of the solution to figure to treat for the specific purpose, specific problem that Thailand shrimp farmer or Thailand aqua farmer facing or encountering during the recent issue. So we have something, for example, like combined disinfectant that can fortify its power better in performance or can show more efficiency. We have some product like shrimp hepatopancreas enhancer or booster or recovering from when they're facing some severe situation or collapse of the hepatopancreas. We have some specific mineral, for example, like mineral force to solve the soft shell molting. We have some product like control or reduce the plankton bloom, for example. And there are still so many that this is just for example. We promote some immune enhancing products and herb extract to replace the use of antibiotics. We support and promote microorganism and probiotic products to use to apply more and more to reduce the use of chemical in Thailand aqua farm. Our Thaba healthcare products from our Thaba memberships has been show the performance outstanding in quality. We have more than 137 items that sell into the other countries like China, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and also India. And every items that we sold out, we sold to the other country, we got the Department of Fishery, Thai Department of Fishery certification, and Thaba brand that is a self-certification too. And this is on the story about Thaba. We have our, we're more than happy to have a virtual communication with everyone who interesting to have a virtual communication with us. You can contact us by Facebook, by email or mobile phone as shown here on the last page. Thank you very much for the organizer for such a creative initiation meeting like today. I hope to have this kind of meeting again in the future. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ สวัสดีครับ
Thank you very much, Kun Sarapat, for a very good presentation. Kokumakap. And next is our question and answer session. Before we go to the question and answer session, if Dr. Paniswan can show his presentation, that would be nice. Dr. Paniswan, would you be able to show your presentation? Because during your presentation, you were not able to share the presentation. Please try to share the presentation. Give it one more try. And if that's not possible, then we will send it across. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Okay, I'll get to the beginning of it. Hey.
We can see it.
Yeah. Yes, I said beginning, not the end. Okay.
Right.
See it now. It's not very detailed.
Yeah,
this is you know, the value addition, as one of our participants has said. It can be anything. It can be raw head on, you know, for shrimp. It doesn't even need one processing, but the value can be added if you say this is our standard, this is our traceability, okay, and all those sort. So the value is not limited to having to process the thing, you know. And this is our market export market. Okay, you can see that the US, let me put this on. Okay, the US, it used to be a little bit bigger. Okay, used to be a little bit bigger, but now we are trade a little bit more with this one increase, this one down, from this one down from what it used to be. Okay, China is coming on strong, especially when we start the live stream program with them. It was going very well, and then we were hit with the COVID, and all the flight stopped from Thailand and China, so the live stream could not be delivered. And you know, for a short period of time, in the domestic market got extra large, high quality shrimp at a deflated price. And I don't know what, I'm not happy with the lower price, but the consumer was happy. This include all seafood item, not just shrimp. Okay, and in the, you can see that it doesn't show India as our export market, but considering the population of India, that is roughly close to what China population, I would say we expect to sell more to the India market. And because our culinary taste is quite similar. You know, you must have heard that the biggest or the most popular Thai dish voted by the traveler was a masman, which is a curry base with all kind of Indian spices. So it is look good for us to expand into Indian market as well. This is the, let me see. This is what we export. Okay, from sorry, someone said something. Okay, this is what we export. Okay, the fish is down here with the blue line. Okay, let me up. I'm sorry, the pen. Okay, this is the fish. This is a cephalopod, which include the squid and cuttlefish. As I mentioned before, the squid is zero tax import from India, but somehow the cuttlefish is a 30% tax. Okay, these two items, the crab and the shellfish, the crab and the shellfish is down here. Now, the crab that we export, you know, the trick with the frozen crab is if you freeze them, then you thaw them, they are big weight loss. So crab is not a very popular item for frozen style export. But we have a small number of our members, I think we have 12 of them, that do pasteurized crab meat, and they need extra raw materials. At the moment, we import raw material of crab from Indonesia and also Vietnam, and also, yes, from India also, but not a very big item that we do import. This is export number. Okay, let me go to the next one. And this is our import. Okay, this is our import. You can see that while shrimp is, let me go back to the shrimp export. Okay, the shrimp export here is very big. The shrimp export, you know, it go down in the COVID year and this year. But when you get to the import, shrimp is down here in the import. Okay, shrimp is down here. That's why I say that we should be a bigger player in the world market on the buyer side. You know, you cannot keep selling and not expect to buy for the same thing. The shrimp has a global price, and if we cannot do the both way, both buying and selling with the global price, we would be in big trouble. Okay? Domestic buying, domestic selling, okay, it matched. But you keep buying domestic and then export. I just recall one of our participants here, one of our panelists here said, that's make the industry very vulnerable. Yes, very difficult to deal with when the domestic price and the world price do not match. Okay, it can be very, very tricky. So you can see the situation that we are in. See, the cephalopod has much higher import number than the shrimp. Okay, the crab, of course, is at the bottom. Fish here for import item is the biggest one. We import a good deal of fish. As even when with the Corona year, see 2019, 2020, the fish import doesn't seem to decline, but this one is only 5 months, so it is lower here. You know, if you double that for the full year, we would expect fish to be up here. Okay, and this is this is from India. This is the one that we import from India only. Okay, of course, fish is the big item. Fish, the blue line, but somehow those COVID year went down much more than the average of for the total import that we had. Okay. The product that we do, our members now is about 130 members. We do fresh shrimp, chilled, frozen, prepared, dried. This is not a big item, but it is there. And this is actually, this one is included here, but it is under the supervision of Mr. Tusk at the Food Processor Association, Thai Food Processor Association. Okay, just have to get his name right. And shrimp, as I said, shrimp is about 2/3 value and 1/3 weight, 1/3 by weight. Okay, cephalopod is 1/3 by weight. 1/3 by weight, but less than, it's about 1/5 by value. Okay, so it's a little bit lower. And fish in a certain year, it can be a little bit more than 1/3. I'd say 1/3 plus in term of weight. The value is between fish and cuttlefish. It's close. Okay. We do not do a big number of whole round. We try to promote the tilapia, but we could not. And also, we tried the pangasius at one time, and we all know that you cannot compete with Vietnam with the pangasius fillet. So we kind of jab on it a little bit. Now we are promoting in this item. We are promoting the sea perch. Okay, or in Thai we call kapong khao, the sea perch, the giant sea perch, barramundi, as the Australian name. Okay, I don't know how successful we can be, but we are promoting it. It seems to go a little bit better than the tilapia. The tilapia is mostly consumed domestically. And these are our selling point here. Food safety, of course, we had that a long time ago. And quality is two things. The quality, you have the baseline quality and then the selling point. The baseline is when you cannot meet this, you cannot sell. But once you up on here, you have to distinguish yourself with higher quality. Okay. Innovation is always in the pipeline. Innovation from the farm level. We have a different technique of farming to fit the soil condition, the weather condition, and also the two. Someone mentioned CP, and they are very keen on the breeding side of the shrimp. The R&D in the processing, it depends on many different things. R&D, when I first took office, we had the freezing process, all mechanical, and now most of them has gone to the CO2 freezing because we have the petrochemical industry to support it. This is another thing that we think we should get more support, because the CO2 from the processing is a byproduct. If we cannot utilize it, it's a waste. You cannot use all the CO2 for, let's say, fire extinguisher. It has to be made to good use, like what we do it. And the latest one, the social issues and the sustainability. Okay, we learned a big lesson about how we sustain, or the total number of sustainable production in the shrimp farming. At the moment, we all agree, or we more or less agree, that Thailand would be comfortable at about 400,000 tons a year. Push beyond that, then we have problem sourcing the shrimp fry, and I don't think problem with the shrimp feed. Okay, the shrimp feed, if we push beyond the 400,000 tons, then the shrimp feed industry would also need big import on the raw material too, not just us. That's the sustainability part. The social issue, we all heard about the labor, right? Okay, child labor and things that we got accused of abusing labor, but that is, I would say, is 10 years in the past. At the moment, the workers in the Thai food processing industry enjoyed a very, very good pay, 100% equivalent to the Thai nationals. There's no distinction, and they've been here legally, and with the proper channel from both government, but Thai and Myanmar especially. For the fishing boat, they are still negotiating or making clear that the nature of that job is a little bit different than a factory workers or even construction workers. Traditionally, when you think about fishing boat, the captain of the boat and the crew, they share the catch. But when we were forced to do daily pay, monthly pay, overtime pay, and all, it cannot be applied to a fishing boat, and we have to make that clear and make that fair to both the boat owner and the workers in the future. This is what we call our selling point. I don't know if they still apply today, but we try. The first, when we say available, that was when we have what, 600,000 tons of shrimp. You name it, you want it, we have them. At the moment, we have to hold back on offering when there's an inquiry, because we don't have the 600,000 tons like we used to. Now we are down to, let's say, 300. So that is still available, but not as plentiful as it used to be. Reliable, yes, because we learn not to promise what we don't have. So if our sales go down, it's because we know we cannot offer. If we offer and we cannot keep our promise, that is bad for business long term. Affordable, we try to be reasonable, and that's one big reason. That is one big reason why we have to be a world player, both buying and selling. If you cannot buy from the world, but you try to sell to the world, you would be in big trouble. And this would conclude my short presentation here. And thank you very much. Remember, the Thai Frozen Food Association We are basically Marine Product Trader Association. That's our former name. We try to recruit other than marine product. In the past 10 years, we succeeded with a single one fresh fruit freezer processor. So we still consider ourselves as the Marine Product Trader Association. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Paniswan. It was a very good presentation. Indeed, it would have been a loss if you were not able to show your presentation. Thank you very much once again. Yeah, thank you. Now we are going into the question answer session, and we are getting lots of questions. I'm sure everybody would like to get their questions answered. Unfortunately, the time is very limited. So what we have done is we have selected few questions which are representative, and we will place it for the speakers to answer the questions. And the remaining questions, we would get the answers from the distinguished speakers, and we will post it. And all of you may go to our YouTube channel, MPEDA YouTube channel, where this will be uploaded shortly, and you will be able to see the question answers as well. Now, let me go to my first question. Dr. Paniswan, could you please answer the first question? It is nothing but regarding your presentation. You mentioned about the export of live shrimp to China. Can you please explain what was the experience of exporting live shrimp to China? And you mentioned that because of COVID, it has come down. But what was your first experience with live shrimp export to China? And what is the demand for live shrimp in Thailand?
Okay.
Yeah.
For Thailand, we call it a wet market, and because the distance is not that great, so the live shrimp in Thailand is not a very big sector. But live shrimp to China, they are talking about 1,000 tons a week, during the high, although at the same time, then they had this 1,000 tons a week delivered to China. They also have a big influx of tourists. Okay? But the COVID cut off both the tourism to Phuket and Krabi in the south, where there's the big source for larger size shrimp, and also the live shrimp that is #1 to China, a smaller number to Hong Kong and Korea. They have their own technique of lowering the temperature of the shrimp until they kind of they're not dead, but they stop moving, okay, and then packed into something that in about 8 to 12 Celsius and shipped, and it should survive up to about 48 hours of transportation, and then they're put back into refrigerated water, which is something like 15 Celsius. And the temperature would allow to rise slowly. When it reached about 24, 25, then the shrimp will start moving again. And I heard they're trying their best to extend the 48 hours into maybe 60 hours or maybe up to a week. I still wait to see that. Now, once the COVID hit, there was a big period of about 1 month, but they scrambled to find an airline to deliver. Now, eventually, I think Thai Vietjet would pick up on the delivery or the logistic of the thing. So for the live shrimp, they focus on bigger size because it would make the cost justified, and also logistic is very, very important. You would not think of shrimp farm being close to an airport, but it has to be. So Phuket was an ideal location. They are tourist center, so they have a good airport. And with the live shrimp filling the cargo, the cost of transportation is not that high. So these are the two factors that you consider if you are trying to do a similar thing with the live shrimp.
Thank you. Thank you for the answer, Dr. Paniswan. In fact, India also, we tried, live shrimp on a trial basis. Unfortunately, the COVID came in and we could not proceed further.
Right.
Yeah. Now, my next question is, I don't know who will be able to answer. If somebody from Department of Fisheries, Thailand, or Dr. Paniswan can try to answer. The question is, will Thailand accept Indian shrimps if it is tested free for IMNV before export?
Of course, I can answer that for the fishery department. I think it's the understanding that anything tested the virus free is allowed to import. We are working on a very specific case when the breeding pairs has to be strictly controlled, okay? Because the breeding pair will be used to produce the fry, and it has to be strictly controlled. But for processing, it has to be processed anyway. And we have a very, very highly controlled environment in the processing plant. We do not allow the wastewater to go back into the pond and all those things. So once we make this traceable, then we should be able to import. Maybe, we don't like to import shrimp with virus all the time, but we have a certain level of control. It should be acceptable for shrimp destined for processing and export. As we all know, the consumer side, not the breeding industry side, on the consumer side, they don't test for virus. They test for antibiotics. Because the shrimp virus is not coronavirus. It doesn't affect us. It just affects the shrimp. Once they're dead, they're fine. And also, when they grow to bigger size, is a semi-proof that it doesn't have the virus. When do we have a shrimp with virus grow to 30 pieces per kg? That's impossible. They all die very small. So I'm not a biologist. I'm not a officer of control, but I think it's ridiculous to look at the big shrimp and say this one has virus. We know they don't grow that big if they have virus. But for the breeding pair, yes, it has to be very strict because it can spread to the whole environment. So to answer that, yes, if we have a mutual recognition of understanding of the testing procedure, okay, then we can have the shrimp import from India.
Thank you. In fact, I would like to add to one of the points you raised, regarding the disease-free status. In India, we have a aquatic quarantine facility where all the broodstock are screened for more than 7 viruses, and only if it is free of viruses, it will be released for use by the hatcheries and farms. So that is there. Now, we are getting a couple of questions on the live shrimp export to China. Let me just finish that, then before I go to the next questions. The 2 questions, Dr. Paniswan, is do they test for pathogens when you export shrimp to China? Number 1. Number 2 question is, what is the freight rate like? Air freight rate is a major cost. How is the freight rate to China?
You mean the transportation cost?
Yeah, air transportation cost.
Air transportation. Okay. Yeah. First of all, the pathogen, I would say for consumption, they are concerned more on the antibiotics things. The pathogen, they test to a certain extent, but China do have their aquaculture industry. So if it is a new virus, they are concerned. But as we mentioned, when it grows to that size, is a more or less an assurance that the shrimp is healthy. Otherwise, it would not go that big. So, and they have the local agent to do the shipment. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the transportation would amount to about 15% of total costs that they trip to China. The exact number depends on how many flights that they can arrange. Okay, if there are regular flights between let's say Phuket exactly to China, then the transportation would go down. But once the flight became very sporadic, the transportation can go up to maybe 25% of total cost. But that's about the highest that go any further, then there'll be no profit to be made, or the consumer cannot accept anything bigger than that.
Thank you, Dr. Paniswan. You gave a very detailed answer, very professional answer. Thank you very much. Now, the next question is, I think, from our colleagues in Thailand. They are asking whether India would allow foreign fishing vessels to fish in India. Now, I will answer. The answer is no. As per the law in India, the foreign fishing vessels are not allowed at present. Let us see in future what will be the changes. And the next question I would request if Kun Tongsambat could answer that. The question is on most of the Thailand buyers ask Indian boat vessel license number. The Indian fishing boat license number, most of the buyers from Thailand requires. Is it a mandatory requirement of the government of Thailand? Kun Tongsambat, can you hear me? Or anybody from Thailand can, whether from Department of Fisheries or Dr. Paniswan, could you please answer any clarification on this?
I think one of our participants, Mr. Song Sang, would be more knowledgeable on that side with the fishing vessels. He used to be affiliated with the Deep Sea Fishing Association. Kun Song Sang, please answer that question for our participants.
Yeah, Kun Song Sang, please. Please unmute your mic. Yeah.
Yes, of course. But you already, just now is my question is I asked whether the Indian government will allow the foreign vessel to fish in Indian water, but you already answered it no. But what is your question again, please?
Yeah, the question is when if exporters from India try to export to Thailand, the buyers in Thailand is asking the fishing vessel license number. So the question is whether it is mandatory to give the fishing vessel license number to Thailand.
Actually, now Thailand government, especially the fishery department, they were strict on the what you call the catching certificate. Actually, not fishing license. It catch certificate. So where it came from, because Thailand now are strict in the IUU. IUU mean this thing. IUU fishing. I don't know whether it post in India too. Yeah.
Yes.
Illegal. Yeah, illegal, unreported, unregulated. That one. Thailand very strict. That's what the we have to import the marine product now because of this issue only. IUU that killing on the what you call the fishery industry in Thailand, or the fishing boat are stop fishing, it become rotten and other. It's very sad thing to say that, but it's true. So because sometime our government used to go and have a meeting with the EU, they already put whatever they did before. Now when we go to start doing that's that thing.
Yeah, I understand. We, in fact, from India, we issue CAT certificate for EU as well as for non-EU countries. That's not a problem at all. We can issue that.
Yeah. Not the fishing license. Actually, the CAT certificate, because the on the catching have to be reported. That's it.
Right. Thank you. The next question is to our friends in Thailand. The question is on the demand for Vanamai shrimp in the coming months in Thailand. These products which have the product in question is PD and PUD Vanamai. What is the demand in Thailand in the coming months? Dr. Paniswan?
Yes.
Could you hear the question? I'll repeat again. What
Okay.
is the demand for PD and PUD, peeled, deveined and peeled undeveined Vanamai shrimp in Thailand in the coming few months?
This depends on the domestic production that we have forecast. Okay. In the next few months, if it is PUD, PUDV, we would rather have the head-on. Just so one reason that we would like head-on is because we would like the job for our workers. Honestly,
okay.
The more processing that we do, the more job the more job for them. If we import something that all we do is just batter and fried, then there will be less job for the domestic workers or the one that in our factory. Okay, it is not that we don't need the PUD. We also buy that, but consider what we bought from Ecuador this year. The head-on account for about 80% of what we bought from Ecuador. Okay? And they are also trying to develop some industry with the headed part, with the byproduct that we can use. So the daily rate for our processing would be about, let me see, about 1,000 tons a day combined, all members. Okay, all members. And in the next 2 or 3 months, this July, August, September is the Christmas processing for delivery in November. So you multiply that by 1,000 tons a day. That means like 25,000 tons a month. No, I missed one. Yes, 25,000 tons a month, and domestic would account for about 18. Okay, so we are short about 7,000 tons each month for the next 3 months. If we can find it, we'll be very happy.
Very good. Are you saying that about 18,000 tons per month go to domestic market?
Or yes, that's the estimate we share with the producer, with the farmers, that they should be able to supply about 80,000 tons each month for the next 3 months. Yes.
Okay. Is it go as head-on or as
head-on? Yes, head-on weight.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. Yeah. The next question is on mackerel. And you had been mentioning about the importance of mackerel export to Thailand. What is the product, what is the value addition you do in Thailand for mackerel? What is the product form the end consumer is given to?
This one is a very traditional food that we consume, the Indian mackerel. So it is sold all over at every market. Let's say that, even in the Northeast, where they're not a seaside kind of town, they enjoy the Indian mackerel. So we can have the fresh and salted and cooked, all those. Not a very fancy operation, but we do enjoy it. I like it personally. Yes.
Yes, yes. Thank you. I've seen the in Chiang Rai.
There are some attempt to upgrade, let's say upgrade it into the modern trade, like Lotus or macro, but that one would have to be vacuum packed and make it a little bit fancy. The Indian mackerel thing used to be called the poor man's protein, but now even the rich one would like to have them. So it wouldn't hurt if we can repackage the things to make it attractive.
That's a very good suggestion, Dr. Paniswan. In fact, we are very happy to hear that it is going to be as a premium product also in Thailand.
Yes.
Thank you. And we are coming close to our end of our question answer. The last question I would put for you is, what is the change in consumer preferences for seafood after the COVID has come in? Do you observe any consumer preference changes?
For seafood, that one thing that we observe is our domestic can sell a little bit more on the premium side. One reason is the cutoff of the flight. For example, the salmon from Norway used to be very simple. When you have all the flight in, now they say you order salmon, fresh salmon from Norway, you have the salmon shipped, and then it cannot find any connecting flight to Thailand. So they are trying to switch to different things. That's why I mentioned that barramundi is getting popular, and also the pomfret in the domestic market. But when they cannot get the import the way they used to, then they have to switch to domestic. Okay? The one that is very stable is the tilapia. It's Nilo tilapia. That's very, very stable for domestic consumption. And the shrimp, the domestic consumption shift a little bit to the bigger size once the tourists disappear. Okay, but I think it's kind of a short-term phenomenon, because the tourists always pay higher than the domestic market. So once the tourists disappear, they try to get those the first 6 months we see this bigger shrimp go into the domestic market. So the consumer get used to that a little bit higher quality. And I think overall that's good. And they would say, oh, we have this big shrimp. How come we don't see it before? Personally, for example, my wife would go a bowl of noodle and she would have 6 small or medium shrimp. Now during those periods, it became 4 big ones. And I tried to calculate for her that, actually you have 30 grams more shrimp than you used to have with these 4 big ones instead of the medium 6 ones. So when they get to get this bigger, better, they get used to it, and then now they can expect that kind of product in the future. We should not let them go back to the smaller ones that are lower value.
Thank you. You mentioned about barramundi. What is the size preferred? What size is preferred, especially for making fillets?
Well, there are 2-3 different sizes that they sell. For the they call it the Chinese banquet, the round table banquet, which is not allowed at the moment. You would look at between 700 to 1,000 grams per the whole fish, okay, for the whole fish. And then for the fillet is 1,000 grams to 2,000. That we do the fillet. But another step is when we go to 3 kilos. That would be the steak when you cut them in the steak style. So that were the 3 sizes that we do them separate market. The smaller one we sell whole to like a steamed fish. You should not steam a 2-kilo fish because you don't have the plate big enough. So the biggest one that they put on the table will be about 1,000 grams, down to 700 just to save cost. And then for the steak is 3 kilos. For the fillet is between the 1 to 2 kilos fish that we do fillet.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Paniswan. You have immense knowledge in the industry. We are very fortunate to have you here. And let us go to the last part of our today's meeting, the concluding remarks. May I invite Dr. M. Karthikeyan, the director, MPEDA, to give the concluding remarks. Dr. Karthikeyan, please.
Very good afternoon to all. I would like to thank Excellency Suchitra Durai, Ambassador of India to Thailand. Madam was very supportive and encouraging to organize such a big program wherein we could link the exporters of India and the importers of Thailand and the Department of Fisheries in Thailand to present our strength and to increase our seafood trade with Thailand. And Madam has pointed out that we have a long-term relationship with Thailand, and with Madam's support, recently we could get the relaxation for certain things, like particularly the reporting time. And maybe in future, if Madam could get us the relaxation for exporting our culture shrimp, we will be able to increase the export to Thailand and support the industry there. And I would like to thank our chairman, beloved chairman, Srinivas IAS. He was very supportive. As our joint director pointed out, this is our 28th business meet being organized for our exporters. Previously, we used to do physical meets, but because of the pandemic, we are organizing all virtual meets. And for the past 1.5 years, we have organized more than 28 meets. And this is basically possible because of the support extended by our chairman. And we thank chairman for the excellent support being given throughout the program. And we would like to thank the Deputy Director General, Dr. Tawon Tunjai, the Department of Fisheries, Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives of Thailand for giving an excellent presentation. And his request was on the traceability part, and we were assured that from Indian side, whatever the product which is being exported, either it is wild caught or cultured, is with traceability. We give certification, a catch certificate, as well as we also give the enrollment we have for the traceability part. And we had excellent presentation from the Indian producers as well as exporters. Mr. Saji Matthew and Manoj Sharma gave a very good presentation on the tuna and shrimp products which are being produced in India and exported. And we had a very excellent presentation from Dr. Paniswan, Mr. Tust Tangsombar, and Kun Sarapat. They all, from the Thailand side, they very clearly pointed out that there is a huge requirement for the Indian product, particularly the tuna and shrimp. They're really interested to buy our shrimp with the understanding between the Indian side and the Thailand side. We are hopeful that that will be addressed, and we will be able to export as much as the culture shrimp to Thailand to support the industry. And as our chairman pointed out, we are open for the Thailand side to come and invest in India for producing value-added products, because value-added products, there is a huge demand in international markets. On our side, our production of value-added product is very minimal in Indian side, but whereas Thailand has excellent facilities for value addition. So we will be able to support Thailand companies to come and establish in their value-added plants in India. So I also thank all the participants for participating in this business meet and raising a lot of questions. And I especially thank Dr. Paniswan for giving the excellent presentation, as well as answering all the queries which have been raised by most of our exporters. So we really appreciate the openness and the way he answered all our questions and queries. So we thank once again everyone from Thailand as well as from Indian side for participating in this business meet and making this business meet a very successful program. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, organizer.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And namaste and
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Namaste and khopun krap. Sawadee krap.
Thank you. Keep safe and stay healthy and get vaccinated. Thank you.
Get vaccinated. ไป say goodbye กับทางอินเดียกันครับเขาที่ปิดพอดี
Thank you.
Thank you.